Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Power On Weekly, hosted by your boy, Irving Legend, and your girl, Allie Mayhem.
Your girl.
Your girl. Thank you guys once again for joining us for episode 4 of Power On Weekly.
Yes.
For the week of July 6th through the 12th.
Yes.
Yes. We got to get it out of the way. Sorry about last week.
Yes.
It was a snow loose. I literally said slow news week.
It's a snow loose week.
Yeah. The last week, so we really didn't have like a lot to talk about or anything. There's like a few things here and there, like the Joy-Con stuff that like Nintendo apologized for. But
it was slow.
Yeah, it was slow. We had a lot of things going on over the weekend as well. It was my birthday, so it was my birthday week this time. Yeah.
Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our birthdays are 2 weeks apart.
Yes, they are.
And that's it.
Yep.
So belated happy birthday.
Thank you,
to
Muffin.
Irving, everybody.
Thank you. But yeah, so that's why we didn't release an episode last week. But we have a few things to talk about this week, right? Some big exciting things.
I want to say it's slow, but I mean it's really not. I guess it's just not the most interesting.
I mean, it's
for
just
me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's of course just an opinion.
Yes. This week we're going to talk about the Xbox announcing their July event, and as well as the Ubisoft Forward event that just happened today. Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk about the July event. It was announced on my birthday, so happy birthday to me. Thank you, Xbox. And it's slated for July 23rd at 9 a.m. And I think Jeff Keighley is going to be either hosting it or doing something a part of it. Jeff Keighley is the host of Game Awards show, and he's just a big like video game influencer guy kind of a thing. So he's kind of a big deal. 343. The creators of Halo 4 and 5 and Infinite did say that Halo Infinite is going to be there. So that's really exciting.
I would hope, because the console release is really soon.
Just around the corner.
Yeah.
No, for sure. They did confirm they're going to be there. We're going to see something. I think Obsidian is also another developer that said that they're for sure going to be there. Obsidian was the makers of the Outer Worlds. The Fallout kind of the original team from
Fallout in space.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the original team from Fallout New Vegas. They made Outer Worlds. They have a team working on a game that we don't know about. It might be Outer Worlds 2, or that might be a separate. I think they have like 2 teams working on that right now. And the big question on everyone's mind, besides seeing a ton of games, is if the rumored Lockhart will be there. Now, the Lockhart is the
console?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
The Series S is what people are calling it, which is kind of what the PlayStation 5's, digital edition is supposed to be. So it's supposed to be a digital edition of the Series X. Now, if it's underpowered, we don't know. If it's going to be the same power, it just doesn't have a disk drive. We don't know. But people are wondering if we're going to see it there. And I don't think we are.
I wonder if they're going to pull a Tesla and have a Series S, E, and X.
Oh, my. And a Y. Don't forget the Y. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. An E for, yeah. Anyways.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
It's okay.
I got nothing.
Yeah, so but first though, let's say we got to talk about that, like comparing apples to apples, right? Where we talk about how great of a show Sony had with their PlayStation 5 event, how many games they showed. Xbox has to come swimming, right? Yeah. So they really need to show off a lot of games. We do know they acquired a ton of developers within the past couple of years, and those developers have been hard at work making games, obviously, and there's some rumors floating around that we might see a Fable made by Forza Horizon developers, Playground Games. Now, if they're taking the entire team and working on a Fable reboot is one question. If not, then it might be just half of it, and the other half might be working on Forza Horizon 5. Because
did they just get the license for Fable, or wasn't there a bunch of drama around Fable, the original developer, creator? And
yeah, Peter Molyneux.
Yeah. So what would this be? Is he separated out from this?
Yeah.
And now has he just kind of given up
I'm
Fable
pretty
brand?
sure. I'm pretty sure he's in jail.
Yeah, but I
He's a
mean,
huge
you know what I
confidant.
mean, though. Like, is it is it an Xbox?
So Peter Molyneux wasn't the owner of Fable. He was just the creative director on it.
Got it.
And
okay.
so like Microsoft owns like the
They've always
Fable.
owned it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah.
Just
So-
had a little bit of a tainted name on it, though.
Yes and no. I mean, it's a beloved franchise. It's just
yeah, I know.
that
I played. I think the second and the third one. And
Yeah.
I enjoyed them.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, you're right though. Like when you think of Fable, you kind of think of.
I've just heard so much stuff over the years, so that's why
Uh-huh.
I was just like, I was just curious.
Yeah, good old Peter Molyneux. Yeah.
not to bring up
Yeah. Sorry.
sore Fable subject, but I just wasn't. I was just curious
Yeah. So they are rumored to be making a Fable game.
because they weren't the developers behind it previously. Right?
No, Playground Games. No.
Okay.
Playground
I guess
Games-
that's more what I'm getting at.
Uh-huh.
Is it's a different team.
It's a different team.
working on a potential Fable franchise.
Yes, and we saw earlier, or a couple years ago, or sometime last year, that they did put out like an ad for working on a open world RPG game, and like I said, Playground Games is known for their Forza Horizon series, and it's a great series. They're really good at making an open world game, but with cars.
Yeah.
So,
and it's beautiful. I've seen the graphics from you playing.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 4 is just a stunning game. So it doesn't surprise me that team would be working on a Fable reboot or some sort of like that. Maybe it's not Fable. Maybe it's just an RPG, like a new like RPG kind of a thing.
New franchise potentially.
Yeah,
but the rumors are Fable.
It's Fable. Yeah, just because of the way that they had their job openings, that it sounded really Fable-esque. And people get to wondering and like, oh, what could this be? And all that stuff.
We're hoping.
Yeah. The same thing could be said for the Perfect Dark reboot that people are kind of, theorizing that's happening. Either the Coalition, which are the people who do the Gears of War franchise, or the Initiative, because those two teams are working on something. So either one of those teams could be working on a Perfect Dark reboot. There was also, that whole debacle a couple weeks ago or last week where there was Twitter handles for those two games. And, official spokesperson said like, oh, those, we've
had those for years.
Yeah.
Even though it shows right on there the date that something was created. Wasn't it created like 2019? It
was created sometime last year.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
who knows how much of that is true? What I also heard is that somebody made one of those just because they were like, oh, what if it's like someone made it and
they could buy them out.
They could buy them out, or just, I don't know, like
next
make
thing
something.
you know, Half-Life 3 is going to be confirmed. You know,
but it's a weird thing. But I could see them doing a Perfect Dark reboot. Like it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Fable, Perfect Dark, Half-Life 3, we're there, boys.
Well, we're all there. Hellblade 2 was also shown last year at the Game Awards show. That was actually the first game they officially announced for the Xbox Series X. And that looks beautiful. Hellblade 1 Senua's Saga or Sacrifice is a really short and very personal game that a lot of people have praised for. It's very much in the sense of like it kind of looks like God of War in the sense, you're behind over the shoulder, all that action, whatever, but it's very psychological, and it follows a story of Senua, who is on a personal journey to like either bury her husband or like reconnect with him spiritually, but she has a lot of issues. So those issues manifest, and that's kind of the things that you're like fighting with. And she's got like things in her ears that are telling, like, voices in her ears telling her things, doubting you as a player. So it's a really crazy, trippy game. And the trailer for Hellblade 2 just looks gorgeous with the Series X. So they'll probably show gameplay, as well as maybe show some gameplay for other games like Obsidian's unannounced title as well. Now we're talking about a bunch of games, right? And all of these could be released, but my question is, do you think there's going to be anything like Game Pass related that they might announce, sort of like an upgrade or anything? What, like, because you're a fan of Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
Well,
what would they upgrade? I don't really.
would you think it'd be a kind of a crazy thing if like we already know that like all of these are first party games are coming to Game Pass, but
Yeah.
like what if they extend it to like not the third like extend it to third parties, but like just add a ton like right off the gate or right off the bat or something.
What do you mean?
So like what if they like strike a deal with, because something that's being rumored around right now is like Warner Brothers, and they're trying to acquire Warner Brothers. So maybe they don't acquire Warner Brothers, and maybe they just add their Mortal Kombat 11, all their new games that are coming out. What if they also buy them into like Game Pass and stuff?
You'd have to just pay like more for kind of like they do the streaming services now, like Hulu, and you have to pay extra for Disney Plus. And is that like what you're getting at, or I don't?
No, I think more than anything, it's just kind of like bringing them on in as like a kind of, because the big thing is that everyone always talks about is the fact that so Xbox doesn't have games. It doesn't have games and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they bought a bunch of like studios and they acquired a bunch of studios, but even like throwing it on top of that, like getting a partnership with another like third party developer to bring their games to Game Pass, I think that would be pretty like epic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not technically buying WB, let's say, right? You're just like inviting them on board to be on Game Pass in order to take advantage of it.
Get their percentage, get a license.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's just me just kind of like spitballing and just like thinking of like what other cool things that could be announced for that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the length of it, but I would assume that it would be at least an hour or an hour and a half, because they got to come out swinging.
Mm-hmm.
They need to show games, and they need to show that they are here to compete with Sony. They're not just gonna do what they did the beginning of last console generation, where they were like, oh yeah, this is a game, and like you can watch Netflix, you can watch sports, you can watch TV, and all this. We're super casual. It's like, no, like this year, Series X, it's about the games, and we're gonna prove it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think. But I also want to talk about Halo Infinite, because this is their flagship game, and Halo 5 didn't really stick the landing. The multiplayer was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We tried the campaign, and it didn't really like get us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is something that maybe you want to see from Halo, like moving forward?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I like the franchise, but
do you think it's enough to carry the like a launch?
No, I just kind of feel like at this point Halo is just the expected game that will just be there. I feel like it's just like Call of Duty. Is that really going to move consoles? No.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't think it has the like hold that it used to have.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it'll always be a moneymaker. It'll always be fun. Like, I can tell you, I will always buy a Halo game.
Yeah.
If a Halo game comes out, I like the multiplayer. Even if I don't play it as much or as regularly as I used to, I will buy it. I will play it. I will. It's just one of those, like, always going to be in my library.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I don't have to buy it because it's
on Game Pass.
On Game Pass.
It'll be
but,
on Game Pass. Yeah.
Point being, if I had to, I would buy it. Like, it's just, but does that make it a console seller for me? No. And I don't really... Not that they can't innovate on the game at all, but I feel like Halo has hit a point where the multiplayer is great, the gameplay is great, like it feels good. They've added things in there, like I remember when Halo didn't even have sprinting.
Yeah.
Or is it grappling where they grab and
yeah, it's mantling.
Yeah. So it's like they've added all these great quality of life things and made the gameplay fluid and nice, and like when I do play Halo 5, like the shooting feels really good. Like, everything feels good. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think like shooters in general have started to go into these other directions, that if they start to go in those directions too, like adding like unique characters and blah, 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 that then it'll start to not feel like Halo.
Yeah.
So Halo's a weird one where I think it's great as it is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot they need to do with it. But when you've kind of played the same thing year after year after year after year, and innovating is going to just make it a completely different game.
Yeah.
It's hard. I don't know. I don't develop games, and I don't really have any ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely don't think that's not why people are buying Xboxes anymore. I think 360 era and earlier, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think from, the Xbox One.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Series X. I'm like, no, that's the new one. You know, I don't think it's been as important of a franchise, and other things have kind of, you know, like I just think the way that what's it called have gone. You just have people who go to it for comfort and people who go to it out of nostalgia. Like, I know that's why I play it. I enjoy it, but
yeah, no, you're right. Like the weight of Halo, it's definitely gone down. It's not the system seller that it once was. Halo 1, 2, and 3 were the pinnacle. When Halo 3 released on the 360, it was huge. It was monumental, right? Can they recapture that magic? Maybe. But it's kind of hard to believe because of just their track record since Bungie left the
honestly, yeah. And it's not that 343 is doing anything wrong. I just think that Bungie, it was their baby, it was their project, and they were there as technology advanced and as they were able to do more things. So they were able to grow it, and like I'll always say that Halo Reach was one of my favorite games. I think they made it feel good although at the time, going back and playing it's a little rough.
Yeah.
But like at the time, And I do think that when 343, like Halo 4, it's like they took what Bungie did and they made it feel good. Like probably going back, like Halo 4 feels the best.
Yeah.
But was it the funnest? No.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know like what it is or how to explain it. Because, like, 343 has done nothing wrong with the franchise, really. Or, like, in the multiplayer, anyways. Yeah. I'm not as invested in the storylines as some other people are. But it's, like, I don't know what they've done. Like, I can't even put into words where it just isn't as... It's not fun. I can't even explain it. There's just something, though, that, like, when Bungie left... It wasn't quite the same.
It kind of lost the magic, the charm.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Something
in
was
it,
missing. Yeah.
Something in it's missing. And like I said, it still feels good. It feels great, but it's just not been as fun.
Yeah. Do you think that new IPs are probably what's gonna like really help this console generation? Like brand new ideas, brand new stories, brand new gameplay. Is that kind of what you think that is gonna help out more as opposed to just holding on to a franchise that doesn't really have that much weight to it anymore?
I think this is something that we're gonna touch on with the stuff we saw today from Ubisoft. But I think people need to come up with new ideas. It's as simple as that. And like there hasn't really been anything that's been new and exciting in so long. And I think that's why, like, in particular, a game like Overwatch was so popular at release.
Yeah.
Because it was, like, the first time on console, really, that something felt different. And it felt magical and it felt exciting and fresh. And, like, I just, like, I don't feel that with a lot of games lately. And it does. It feels like I think some of my issues are I'm hitting these franchise fatigues.
Yeah.
Even with franchises I don't play.
Yeah.
Like, and we'll kind of get into this more, but yeah, I think they need to come up with, like, all these places need to come up with something new and exciting and stop trying to let an established franchise carry something. Even if it's beloved. I'm not saying don't make those games. But you can't be. They need to stop using these as crutches, and that's really what it feels like.
Yeah. From
all sides.
Yeah.
So
no, I think you're right. I mean, if you look at like games like in the 360 era, we had games like Gears of War, right? Gears of War came out of nowhere. It was really great. Like on the opposite side, Infamous, like that was such an amazing franchise. That was brand new. They could have kept doing Sly Coopers and Crash Bandicoots and all that stuff, but instead. They innovated and they did Infamous, and the same thing could be said for this generation as far as Sony goes with Guerrilla Studios, I think, for who did Horizon Zero Dawn. That was a brand new game, brand new everything, IP, and look how successful that was. And the sequel is really, really, like, everyone's looking forward to it. So I think you're right. Like, Halo will always have a special place in everyone's heart, but it's not the system seller. It's not the console buster or anything. Like, no one's going to go running out to get it like on day one. But with that being said, it would probably be a good idea to just get new ideas out there. So hopefully we see a lot of new games during Xbox's July event on the 23rd.
Hopefully, because I don't know. They need something. They need something interesting and buzzworthy.
Yeah. Okay, before we move forward,
I see what you did there.
I want to ask, what are your predictions as far as Xbox's July event goes? What are you looking forward to? What do you want to see? Are you excited for Halo? Are you excited for new stuff? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, let's move on. So Ubisoft Forward was today. Yeah, it was like an hour-ish, presentation. Very, very in parts it kind of felt like the EA presentation. A little light on games, especially because they really only showed 3 really big games when we know that there are other ones like Rainbow Six, Quarantine, and Gods and Monsters. But they did say that they're going to have another Ubisoft Forward in the future. So there's time for that. Now, what they did show off was a little impressive.
Sorry, I'm trying to just
You're good.
Get comfortable, everybody. Okay, back to Forward.
Yeah. What they showed, some stuff was impressive. Some stuff needs polish and is not really impressive.
Oh, yeah.
I think though, like, just kind of getting this out of the way, I think that the games that they showed are going to be good games. They're going to be great. Like, like they can carry their weight. Ironically, we were talking, but
yes,
but we need some polish, because what we saw today in some trailers, it was a little rough, right?
Not even the trailers, the gameplay.
The gameplay, yeah.
So
let's go down the line. We'll get to it. Watch Dogs Legion was first shown off, and they started off with a really cool, what I think was really cool animation short film thing. It was done by the director, I forgot his name, but he did Into the Spider-Verse as well as
I could tell
one of the episodes of Love, Sex, and Robot on, I think it's called, which is called The Witness. That was a really cool episode. But Allie was not a fan of that art style.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned like an episode or 2 ago in this, where like my issue was like the frames, and as it was playing, I was like, "This reminds me of Into the Spider-Verse," and everyone goes, "Yeah, that's because that's the guy who directed this." And it was, I told him, I'm like, I really want to like it. I like the idea of it. But again, for me, it was like I was watching it, it was making me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And what I told Irving is, it reminded me of, do you remember like in the early 2000s where like the handheld shaky cam in videos in movies was like a thing to make it look more voyeuristic and like amateur, but it was like a high-end movie. It was like a mixture of that and Into the Spider-Verse, and like literally it was actually giving me a headache, so I couldn't even enjoy the trailer. And it was so all over the place, like things were happening so fast. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old, but like I wanted to like it, but and Irving was like, "Oh, I was so sick." What?
I liked it.
I know you did.
Yeah. But besides that, we learned more about the game. Now the game has been shown off.
Not from the trailer.
Not from the trailer. No.
The trailer didn't do nothing.
No, it was just a really flashy, cool thing that they showed off. No, we've seen, and that kind of goes back into what we were saying about comparing these two to EA and
fluff.
We've seen stuff like gameplay and stuff from, I think, last year at E3. Now this game was supposed to come out, I think, last year or early this year, and they pushed it back. And we already know a lot about it, right? There's no main character. Every NPC in the world is virtually playable. You have to recruit them. Some you can recruit right off the bat. Some others you have to recruit by doing different side missions, and you can even recruit some of the bad guys too. So like that element was really interesting.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, I was like, this is ridiculous. That's so weird, especially off the heels of Watch Dogs 2, where they actually made a really cool, likable character, unlike Watch Dogs 1. So for them to just go this direction is a little off, but after seeing interviews and people playing hands-on and stuff, it makes sense, and it just adds a whole other layer of like gameplay elements that you can do, right? And just kind of management, and just it's really smart in the way that it does it.
It is a really cool idea. I do. That's where I'm gonna have issues like talking about all the Ubisoft stuff. Is because their ideas and stuff aren't bad. But like in this case, and I feel like I'm gonna bring it back up. I brought it up last time. I bring it up this time. Like again, it feels like franchise fatigue, and it feels like bringing a name to carry a game.
Yeah.
Because okay, and I have to like admit I haven't played either of the Watch Dogs, but just based off of what I know from the original Watch Dogs, this doesn't even feel like a Watch Dog game. Like it feels like it has elements of it, but it kind of could have been its own spin-off or something different. Like it feels like using a name to and you did play the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one, yes. The first one, you're just some really generic, not likable character who is just a hacker, and he just is. It's kind of like a revenge story. The second one, it kind of ties a little bit more into like this as far as like DeathSect, which is like a hacktivist group. So I can understand why they would want you to be able to play a bunch of hacktivists as opposed to just one main character. So it can kind of, feed that idea of like, this isn't just one person that's a hacker. Like in the first game, it's a whole group, and it's like people coming together to to fight oppression, and exactly what the game is like established. So
do you feel though that like the game is 3 games in and still doesn't know its identity? Do you think they're still just kind of confused in the direction, or do you think this is them just trying something new? Because just like when you go into it as like a 3 different games in the same series, it just, I mean, even the like the humor and like kind of how they presented the gameplay and talked about it was more humorous, and did like I haven't played them, but I watched the other trailers when those games were released, and it just feels very different. Does that make sense?
It does. It almost feels like kind of if you watch like the 3 Thor movies together.
I almost said that because you've talked about that before.
Yeah, like they're all so very different. All of them are directed by different people, and like the
same characters, same story, same universe.
And the third Thor just like goes off the rails. Like I see this one as the third
Thor.
So it's really strange, but I mean, it worked for Taika Waititi and Thor, so maybe it'll work for them. But to a certain extent, I do agree with you. But I think that this new direction that they're going is just kind of trying to like almost rebrand themselves because of how not well Watch Dogs 1 was received.
Yeah.
So they're doing the Thor Ragnarok thing where it's just like everything's a joke. We're Guardians of the Galaxy because you guys like that.
Yeah,
like, don't forget about the dark
something
world.
Completely different to try and reach. Yeah, it just feels like their identity is just a little confused, I guess.
Yeah,
because when you go 2 games that even if like or dislike the characters, there's like it's what is it where it's like you have like a set that like you have a.
Like
what am
foundation?
I trying to... Yeah, like you have your foundation, and then you come in here and you like totally throw it. And like I said, and I'm not complaining, and I'm not saying it's like, because it looked really interesting.
Yeah,
and I liked the idea. I guess again, I'm just more confused on like why not make it its own thing or a spinoff or like so for it to be Watch Dogs 3. And I don't know, maybe I'm looking into that a little too much. But...
Yeah. Because I mean, technically, it's Watch Dogs Legion, so it's not 3. No, I'm just kidding.
You're right.
No, but it is unique. I think it's also cool because like the characters that you get to play as, it really it makes you strategize on who you pick. They talked about like getting different characters, and each of them are kind of like they specialize in a class. You might have someone who's really good at drones, someone who's really good at hacking, someone who just brute forces everything. And then you get John Wick in the game, so an assassin.
Good old Mr. Wick.
Yeah, but
hopefully no puppies were harmed in the making of this
hopefully
game.
Hopefully not, yeah. But then it goes even further where you can recruit paramedics or you can recruit lawyers. So if your characters, either get killed or get hurt in action or in a mission or they get caught in jail, then you can speed them up by getting them out of jail faster by getting a lawyer, or revive them or heal them faster by getting a paramedic. So like that level of like strategy is really interesting, and I think that it's going to be cool. I will say though that since this game took an extra couple of months, almost to a year of extra development, it does look good.
It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks fabulous.
It looks really good, and the same cannot be said for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So before we do that, we'll just, we'll go. I like to go down the line of how everything happened. They talked about Brawlhalla. It's a kind of a Super Smash Bros. Kind of game with a bunch of characters. They actually have a Jake and what's his name, Finn from Adventure Time. Yeah, it's coming to mobile. It's also crossplay August 6th. It's free. Might and Magic, another mobile game, and then Elite Squad is also another mobile game that takes the characters from the Ubisoft universe. So like they showed a trailer with Gaviera, like Montaigne, Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell, and even like the bad guy from Ghost Recon Wildlands, the freaking guy with the tattoo and the cross on his face. Yeah, like even that, like, and it looks like it I think it might be kind of like a turn-based strategy mobile game.
Interesting.
But they showed all that. Siege said a thank you to all their players for I think 5 years of Siege.
I don't play it anymore, but I will always just, the minute Siege gets brought up, give them like a little respect, a little like I love them. They're just, that game is just chef's kiss, you know? Like, woo!
60 million players is their new milestone that they just hit. Who knows if that's just 60 million players that are new or 60 million
it goes
concurrent.
Into,
it goes back
how
into
you
what
say
we were talking
things.
about. Yeah.
That game well deserves its continued growth, though. 100%.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
It had a rough start, but it was still fun. And then they just have like put in so much work to make it amazing, and they just continue to like blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
And it's just too overwhelming to go back to.
It's literally,
it literally makes me sweat and break out into hives now, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love this. The Siege team just deserves so much
fabulous franchise. Really
love
good.
and respect. And I will, anytime it gets brought up, I will take a moment and be like, them. They love.
Good job.
Wow.
Yeah. They also talk about Hyperscape, their new battle royale that I am just kind of over. Like, you know me.
Oh yeah.
You know me. I jumped on the battle royale craze, you know, and
yes, you did.
And I'm a fan of them, but I'm just over it now. And Hyperscape,
too many.
Yeah, Hyperscape is I think it's a little too late, right? I think they try to jump on it a little too late, and it's giving me vibes. And this is I don't want to disrespect the game or the developers or anything, but it's giving me vibes of like kind of like Radical Heights, where they just like threw it out there. Not in, like I said, it doesn't look as rushed, but it just
like Radical Heights is a little bit of an insult.
I'm sorry. Like, and now thinking about it, it does sound like really bad. But what I'm trying to say is just I feel like it's just a little
jumping
too
on
late
a hype
for
train.
It. Yeah, and jumping on a hype train and like
too late.
You're
in the caboose.
Yeah. The game looks cool. The gameplay's a little floaty for my taste. TTK, like time to kill, is really long as well. I haven't tried it, to be honest. Maybe I'll download it. Maybe I'll love it. But I'm just kind of over battle royales right now. And so they did like kind of like a test like last week or when they announced it, and people were allowed to like log in and like test it out and everything. But now it's an open beta. For PC, free to play right now. So you can play. If it's coming to console, we have no idea. But right now, you can go play that, download it on there. So if you want a new Battle Royale for some reason, if Fortnite, Apex, and Warzone aren't scratching that itch for you right now, then
all those free to play options just aren't hitting the spot.
And that's then go play Hyperscape. Let me know how it is. If you've played it and you're like, Irving, you're wrong, man. You've got to give it a try. Let me know. Like I said, I might give it a try, but Hyperscape isn't really something that I like don't really want to talk too much about.
And yet here you are.
Yeah, here I am rambling on already, like 4 minutes or something. Now, what I do want to talk about, and a lot of things that we have opinions on, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. What did you think about the presentation and everything? Now, just to kind of set the stage, right? This is the first time we're seeing gameplay. During March or May, Xbox was they were supposed to show gameplay. It wasn't gameplay. It was just a really, really nice, pretty cinematic.
And we can see why they didn't show gameplay, because that was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
First off, if you took out the Assassin's Creed from the title,
yes,
and just showed me the pretty trailer called Valhalla, I'd have been like, this is a great brand new game. This is like, a new franchise. Yeah. Like, this could be cool. But then also, if you showed me that gameplay, I would have been like, oh, never mind. This is totally gonna crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to not be mean, but holy moly, does it need polish? But then I also don't want to criticize and be a jerk, because as like we were talking today, and we think that a lot of the reason that this game is so messy right now is because of the whole pandemic and
yeah,
you know, like having to move everyone to working at home and not being able to work in a team and get things done probably as quick as you would in office.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to be a jerk. And I wouldn't even really be bringing it up, except that they don't have a lot of time to polish it. And with what they showed, like, there was literally, like, just, like, missed animations. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they would, like, have their shield and then all of a sudden it'd be on their back.
Yeah.
Or, like, we saw at one point in the boat. Remember in the boat? Yeah. When they were coming to the land to raid? Literally the, like, what is the
sail?
The sail was up.
Yeah.
Was up and then literally just, like, it just was not clean. It was like they're literally missing animations in there. Uh-huh. And then when they're in this really dark building, you can see light clipping through solid walls.
Yeah, not
from
even
the
windows.
Outside. Yeah. Uh-huh. And it was just, and I know that the teams are probably under a lot of pressure, but this is another one of those games that I'm just, like, worried, like, if it comes out looking like this, I don't know how development works, so I don't know if 4 months is enough time to polish it up and make it look really good, but I see why they did not want to show gameplay 3 months ago, because even, like we were saying, the character models don't look complete.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really strange. Like, it looked like a game that is not finished, or it looked like a game from 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Yeah, now...
especially when you look at how pretty their actual trailer is.
The cinematics.
The cinematics looked amazing. Yeah. So just when you go from that to the game, like...
So when I was watching it, because I watched it, because you were still sleeping, I was watching it, and I was like, is my computer where I was watching it, I was like, is this, like, do I not have the right settings on? I was like, there's frames that are skipping. And it wasn't just like in, like, you know, the gameplay demos that people, you know, because the media like IGN, GameSpot and all that, they did coverage on it that they got hands-on time to be able to play it. This was from the trailer that they showed it from. There was, like, frames literally skipping. The animations were really off, and I just thought it was, like, maybe I don't have it at the highest settings, or my internet is skipping or something. But no, we rewatched
it, and it kept happening. And things would happen, and me and Irving would literally just, like, look at each other and go, "Did you see that?"
Yeah.
And, like, so it wasn't even just, and it was, like, consistent too as the other issue. It wasn't like, oh, this happened once or twice. Yeah. This happened throughout all the gameplay. And what also is really scary is the fact that this is what they gave gameplay to media companies to play. Uh-huh. And you know that they are giving them the best levels that they can.
It said on there it's an early game footage. Early game build.
Access,
game build. That's what everyone said beforehand.
Yes. And that's why I don't want to be, like, hard on it.
Yeah.
And that's also why I'm saying too, like, I don't know game development, so maybe this is just what these things do look like this early in. But when you're showing it to the public who doesn't know game development like me, it's a little unnerving. And I think that's unnerving specifically because Assassin's Creed has a history.
Yeah, if we look back just a couple...
At what, Unity?
Yeah,
with
Unity.
The faces?
Yeah.
As a launched game?
Yep. And, you know...
That's why I think I'm just not feeling great.
Yeah, since then, I think since Unity or Syndicate, whichever one it was, they decided that they weren't going to do annual Assassin's Creeds. They were going to take 2 years in order to make them. And since Origin and Odyssey, those were really great games. They were really well polished. A few bugs here and there, but not to the extent of what we saw.
This game needed an extension.
Yeah, especially with the...
Maybe.
You know, and it goes back to what we were talking about, especially with the current state of the world. And we know that it's difficult to be, you know, working from home and stuff. And that's
why we don't want to be mean.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, we saw games like The Last of Us and Cyberpunk have to push their stuff back, is because we just can't, there's no way around it. That's just the matter of the fact is that this is affecting it, and I think
it's slowing down production time for everything. Yeah,
and I think
that's
we're
understandable.
Really seeing it, like, now.
It's starting to catch up.
Yeah, and we're really seeing it because of, like, I would like to think that that's why we didn't get a lot of games and announced for EA Play. Maybe Xbox third-party thing was also supposed to be bigger than it was, but people weren't ready, and Ubisoft Forward as well. And that's why they're going to have another one in the future.
That's why everything's coming out so slow.
Yeah. So
I agree.
I like to believe that this is all has to do with just the fact that the current state of the world, and I would like to give them a benefit of the doubt.
I do too.
At the same time, I do think that the direction of the Assassin's Creed franchise has gotten really... It's it's almost like they've lost their way, because even in the presentation, all it was like, look at all this stuff, like raiding, assaulting. Oh, look at the combat. Look how in depth the combat is. Oh yeah, and then there's stealth. Like the stealth, and I'm not saying that when Assassin's Creed game has to be stealth only, but like,
yes, it does. It has assassin in the title. What do you mean? No, it doesn't need to be stealthy.
And maybe this is just me being like real picky, but I think I would have loved to see Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla just be their own standalone things.
Yep, I agree.
Because I really don't, and maybe because I haven't played the game, like those two games, and I haven't tied them in with like the whole overarching arc of like the Assassin's Creed franchise. But I remember when I would play Assassin's Creed 1, 2, Brotherhood, all that, like everything had a branching story. I completely, as convoluted as it was, I understood where everything was going and why these, they were looking into each time period. But now it almost feels like they're using the time period as just like, oh wait, an excuse to make a new game, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, we're gonna borrow that time period because we're Assassin's Creed, and that's the thing that we do. And I think that's that they're taking that too much of an extreme as opposed to focusing on the gameplay, because what the original Assassin's Creed games were more focused on, like the settings and the assassins and all that stuff, and you did have a little bit of history, but now it feels like we were talking about where it's the opposite, where it's just full on history.
We're taking a cool time period with cool warriors and doing cool things.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. It goes back, and like, this is why I said we were going to bring this back up, is franchise. Why can't we talk today?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Franchise fatigue,
and just taking a game title that will sell because of its oh my gosh, because of its name.
Yeah.
And just throwing it together, and yeah, I think right now we've seen a lot of opportunities for new franchises or for new games, but instead of taking that step and taking a chance at, let's make a new game that isn't tied to this, they're like, it's like all these places are taking the easy way out and saying, let's just tie it into this universe, just so it will sell. Like Valhalla, a Vikings game, could have been really cool. This game could have been great on its own without the Assassin's Creed tied to it. And yeah, it doesn't feel like, because it doesn't even feel like an Assassin's Creed game.
No.
Where is the assassin? No one looks at a Viking and says, that guy would make a great assassin, light on his feet, real quiet.
Yeah, real quiet.
Not too violent.
No.
Like, I don't know. It's weird. It just feels like, like you said, like these games could have branched off into their own thing instead of having to ride on the coattails of a name.
Especially because these past three games, Odyssey, Origins, and this game, are very RPG heavy, as far as like you have a level, your armor has levels, you want to level your up, and like there might be a character that's too high of a level so you can't kill them as easily. So that's the other reason why I think that they could have just easily done like even like a spin-off, right, or something. But like just having Assassin's Creed in the title, it just feels like kind of like a cop-out for something like that. But that's just us. That's just our opinion. And
well, it ties back to what I was saying earlier about Halo, where if you start changing the foundation of Halo, or you start doing something too different, it then isn't Halo.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. It's the exact same situation where now it looks like they're every game they're changing the core of the game too much to where it's not really representative of what the game is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's an Assassin's Creed game. Like, so it just seems like at some point you need to just commit to moving it to a new franchise and taking that leap of faith.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
As you should.
Yeah.
And let it kind of be its own beast.
Yeah. So they did also they showed a lot of gameplay, and so because we complained about not seeing any gameplay during the March event for Xbox, or May, whatever it was. Man, this year's just blurred together. Anyways,
yep.
They showed a good amount. They also handed a lot of media, IGN, GameSpot, even like some YouTubers and stuff. They handed them the game, and they were able to play and able to explore. And well, we saw a lot of things. So we saw the rating, right? Because what the premise of this is that they're talking about, like, everyone has this idea of what Vikings were. They're just barbarians. They went out and they just killed people and all that stuff. And I mean, yeah, they kind of did that, but they had their reasons. You know, they're moving from, I think it was Norway to the England because they were trying to get away from there, and they were just trying to establish a new like world, right? Mm-hmm. And so you playing as this chieftain. I forget it's their name, because you can play as a boy or a girl, or man or woman, and you play as them, and you're trying to bring your, you know, just have your village, your crew, whatever, like flourish in this new world. So of course you got to raid some pillage some villages, you know, raid some villages. We be friends? You know, why do we gotta raid and pillage? That's just share the lands. Because they showed up and they're like, we don't want you here, and we're like, well then I'm just gonna kill you. Y'all
should have just been nice, and just, you know, bring them a cupcake and
yeah.
I don't know.
So they showed off the raiding, they showed off the combat. The raiding seemed a little underwhelming, even when we were watching, you know, here's the raid gameplay.
Yeah, we watched beyond what just Ubisoft showed. We watched a few other media outlets that had access to the game. Mm-hmm. And it was that's where we saw a lot of the glitching too, outside outside of their own stuff as well.
And then we saw a lot of, like, you know, like you said, like the light shining through physical walls, animations just being really odd, and it didn't look polished, and like
underwhelming gameplay on top of it.
Exactly. When I think of, like, you know, like a Viking raid they're just coming in and they're like just destroying everything, like I envisioned this like massive, just hulking people just going through and literally just running over people, but like there is maybe for, you know, a handful of, like, you know, villagers, and like 2 or 3 like scurried away and you never saw them again, and you were just fighting the NPCs, and it just seems a little underwhelming, and like it culminates into like a tiny little raid boss, or like a boss in general, where it's like that's their leader or whatever, and you have to take them out and you steal their stuff and whatever. But I think what I envisioned that being was what the assault gameplay was, where they were like coming in on their boats, arrows flying in.
Yeah,
they had to, like, you know, break. Cool. Yeah, and that looked really cool. So that's I think I'm more excited about that. If they make the raids a little bit more like if they fill it up a little more like just more brutal, really.
Energy.
Yeah.
Something
lively, really. Like I want to see.
Well, it's because the villages felt empty. Yeah. I think in what we saw. Mm-hmm. I think that's more so than anything.
I think you're right. I think that's what it was. It's like, yeah, you had
your
little pots and pans.
There's a guy.
Yeah, like it's like that. Like the only guy standing in the middle, like him and 3 other people. But that's like it didn't feel lived in. Mm-mm. So I think that's the immersion there kind of broke, especially when we kept seeing all those like issues going on. Mm-hmm. The character models really threw me off. I couldn't believe that, like, seeing the character models when they were actually showing it, I was just like, God, they don't look that great. Like, man.
Especially, their biggest issue was going from their cinematic into the gameplay is what made, I think, all these issues more obvious and apparent, because their cinematic was fantastic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And I know it sounds like we're just like kind of shitting on. We've already established that we understand the situation and stuff like that.
And they have time to fix these things, and I guess I'm hoping they do. But I just knowing how much time they have, and it makes me a little nervous that things aren't going to get fixed. This is going to be one of those games that needs a lot of patching. Mm-hmm.
And from a like, and we were talking about from an Assassin's Creed standpoint as well. I guess I'm just also kind of disappointed because we didn't get to see a lot of like Assassin's Creed type elements. Wall climbing, like the fact that we barely saw wall climbing. People are literally walking up like ladders, and like you don't see like this giant skyscrapers or, you know, the giant buildings that you're just supposed to go up, and it blows my mind that like this is an Assassin's Creed game, but nothing about it feels Assassin's Creed.
Oh, and then we watched someone,
IGN, right?
I think IGN was playing it, and the guy said that, you know, like, even when you are doing like assassinations, it feels completely underwhelming because the characters just stand there still. And as he's showing a video of him on like a platform, and he assassinates this one guy, And there's a guy literally maybe social distancing space, like 6 feet away.
Yeah.
Doesn't hear it, doesn't see it, like.
And then he gets assassinated.
And then he literally just stands, and like the guy is literally walking, like, I'm sure it doesn't even sound, but like when you watch it, you're like, that NPC 100% should have noticed. Like, there's no reason that the NPC is still just standing there, like.
Yeah.
Dumb as day. And as he was doing this guy explained that, like, they just stand there, and the assassin, like, you know, the stealth stuff isn't challenging at all, because all they do is stand there, they don't notice anything, and it's like, that should be the core of an Assassin's Creed game. So there's just a lot of issues.
So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, every time we go back to, like, the assassin issues, it just really, like, pushes home that this should have just been its own game. Like, it feels like because they have the Assassin's Creed thing, they're shoehorning in assassins to make it be like, oh, no, see, it's an Assassin's Creed game because you can kind of stealth around if you want. But it just feels like this game could have gotten a lot more justice, and if it had just been a Viking game done by the team who did Assassin's Creed. Yeah,
because that could easily, carry it on its own, like a cool, because like the combat is brutal. It's like a brutal Viking game.
Bloody. Yeah, like when you're watching it, it is a very brutal, bloody game.
But like you said, it just feels like they're shoehorned. And like the thing that I keep thinking back to is that like a couple weeks ago, we saw Ghost of Tsushima. Like, they showed off like a huge 30-minute thing that they were talking about their game, and they were talking about the two ways that you can go into, like, you know, exact same thing. You can raid like a village, and the first one was you do it the samurai way, and you 1v1 everybody in there, and you kill them all and stuff. But then they also showed like the ninja way. And that felt more Assassin's Creed than what we saw today.
Yes.
Like, the fact that,
like Japan's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed in Japan.
By the way, Ubisoft, I don't know why you're waiting on a Japanese Assassin's Creed.
Well, they can't do it now, because...
Yeah, because Ghost of Tsushima just already ruined it for them. But and that's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that, like, Ghost of Tsushima, and, you know, it's a samurai game, and we just said, like, you know, that's the perfect time to, like, you know, ninjas and samurais are during that time. It would perfect setting for an Assassin's game. The fact that they have done that, and I feel more vibes of Assassin's Creed elements from that than their own game, it says a lot of where the franchise has gone. And at the end of the day, more than anything, what I'm trying to get at is that I'm just kind of disappointed.
Well, and then the easy example of a game company that had a well-established kind of foundation of a game, but wanted to do something different, I think, is Dark Souls and Bloodborne. Yeah. Where it's the same company doing things, but different setting, different thing, and they're their own games.
Sekiro too, because Sekiro is from
yes,
somewhere.
Exactly. So like the fact that those like games and they can all thrive on their own. They still have some similar elements. They're done by the same team, but they've all flourished in their own communities and have been given the respect of this setting, and this game deserves its own thing because it isn't a continuation of this. Like, there's no need for those three games to be connected, but they can all be enjoyed by the same audience or the same like, they can have the same love and respect, but they aren't like, oh, well, it's a part of the Bloodborne games franchise, so it has to like have this one thing in it. It's just like an example that you don't, sometimes you just need to go on your own. And I know I keep saying that, but like,
I know, we keep saying the same, but like it's I think it's just kind of baffling, right? That it's
and it has promise. Like, that's the thing too. Like, I like the idea of it. I liked what I saw. It needs polish, and I just kind of wish that they weren't. I wish they had given more attention to all that other stuff, but it feels like they probably couldn't.
Instead of trying to shoehorn the Assassin's Creed franchise into it, so. That's all really I wanted to talk about, like the fact that, like, you know, the current pandemic is probably we're seeing this more, right? We're seeing the effect of it, and it's made pretty
beginning
clear.
To hit.
It's pretty clear.
It's beginning to hit these games that were close to completion and were in those polishing states, but like a lot of them have deadlines, and those deadlines are coming up quick, which would I think in a normal year be fine. But those deadlines are questionable for a lot of these games right now, and if the game is going to be 100% ready. Valhalla, I don't have faith it is.
You're 100% right, because if you like look at last year when they said Rainbow Six Quarantine, Watch Dogs Legion, and I think Gods and Monsters, they said we're going to push it back, we're going to delay it. they didn't have the stress of like, we have to release this game because a new console is coming out.
Console, holiday season.
And the fact that they, you know, we see Watch Dogs Legion now and we think it looks much better. So much better than like, you know, as far as polish wise. It goes to show that like giving it an extra year of development goes a long way. And not being tied to we have to release this year because of a new console generation, it helped that game out so much that I think the opposite effect is going to be for Valhalla. Because
they're not going to be able to push it back.
No.
They're not pushing it back.
No.
They can't.
It's November 17th.
And again, like they probably, in normal circumstances, this was plenty of time. In these circumstances, it's not enough. But that's why I keep saying I think it's going to be a very patched game the first few months. And it's one of those games that if I was a huge fan of Assassin's Creed and I needed to play it, I would probably still hold off.
Yeah.
I would probably wait till next year, and I would either wait for reviews or I would just wait and see what they patch. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be like Unity or Syndicate or whichever one that was super, super buggy.
Yeah.
I mean, that one was way worse, I think. But I think it's going to kind of probably have some of the same issues. It's going to need some patches and some help.
Yeah. Like we said, maybe we're being too brutal, but that's just from what
we're kind of brutal.
Yeah,
we're kind of judgy.
That's just our take on what we saw today and just kind of things that we were thinking about when we were watching it, right? The last thing that they showed was Far Cry 6. Now this was leaked on Friday, I think. And immediately after, Ubisoft was like, we'll see you on Sunday. And they showed a little clip of, what's his name? Giancarlo Esposito's character. You know, I forget his name. His character in the game, sorry.
But the older guy or the kid?
No, the older guy.
Okay.
Carlos,
son's Diego. I didn't catch the other character's name.
Anton.
Okay.
So Giancarlo Esposito is known for his roles in Breaking Bad as well as The Mandalorian and some other stuff. But he's making his debut.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what? You didn't know that?
No, but like when they showed him, I was like, he looks really familiar. But yeah, now that you say it, I see it. I know exactly who he is.
Yeah, from
Gus, right?
Gus from,
and then the big bad guy.
Gideon, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Did you really?
No, I didn't. No, I thought he looked really familiar.
Yeah.
I was like, I know him. I know what he looks familiar.
So you know he plays great villains, right?
Yes.
So this is a perfect marriage for them.
Yeah,
and
he's great.
I watched I just watched an interview with Damon and him that they did on IGN, and this is his first time doing a video game, and they talked about how sorry, I know we're supposed to talk about the trailer, but he talked about this is his first time doing a video game and the first time like him having to act in a mocap suit. And he's like, when you're doing, you know, normal things like TV shows or movies, everything is there for you. You see everything there. But here you're in an empty room. You've got dots all over you. You've got a camera in your face tracking your face with dots all over your face. And it's just an empty warehouse and you have to imagine it. And he's like, you don't even like here I can play with my button and I know it's there. But as a character, am I wearing a suit? What am I doing? Whatever. Like, so it was really interesting to hear his like perspective on it, especially since this is his first time doing a video game, but he is enamored with like this idea of this game. And it really,
cool.
Yeah, it made me really excited about it. And, you know, he's a fantastic actor. He says that he's like, everyone knows me for being a bad guy. And he's like, but I wanted to be more about it. And he explained his character, Anton, and kind of like his like ideology of what it is to be Anton, and it was really interesting. I would highly recommend watching that interview. But regardless, we saw this intense trailer. It
was great.
Yeah,
it was really interesting.
It really, man, the whole like 3 minutes, I was just like, ooh, you know. He comes in, he talks to his son, and he wants his son to grow up. He wants his son to know that the world that they're living in is pretty brutal, and he's gonna have to take the mantle one way or another, and he needs to learn.
Grow up, son.
Yeah, so
grow up now.
Yeah, seriously. And what a great way to, you know, teach your kid how to grow up by handing him a live grenade and pulling the pin and telling him to follow you.
Yeah.
But yeah, what an intense trailer. The if the game looks like this, which I really doubt, because it's probably just a cinematic trailer, but my God, the character models are just
looked amazing,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my! Like I was just floored by how amazing it looked, and I'm sure the game will look good. Not as good as that, but I'm out of anything. I think this Anton and Giancarlo Esposito is gonna give Voss from Far Cry 3 a run for his money.
Yeah.
Because everyone loves Far Cry 3. Everyone loves Voss. But I think Anton's going to be pretty up there.
You have a solid actor moving into a game world. Like,
yeah.
It's a lot of talent in there.
It's a match made in heaven. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, the actor who plays Diego is the voice actor for Coco, or for what is it, Miguel, from Coco, yeah. And again, going back to the interview, he said that he really liked working with him. He's like, he's such a talented actor, and it was great working with him. So like that makes it even better, right? Because I don't know, I love Coco, but we won't see this game until next year. So
we're not going to see probably much in the way of anything.
Yeah, we might see like a gameplay reveal at the next Ubisoft Forward. That might be something that they might show like snippets of. Because even in this trailer, we didn't even get to see who the player that we get to play as.
Yeah.
We know that there's a revolution going on, but...
It was a setup. It was a setup trailer for sure.
Yeah. But maybe for the next Ubisoft Forward, they'll show off gameplay, who you're playing as, and just kind of the dynamics between Anton and the player.
That makes sense, though, 2021, because I was like, didn't they just release the Far Cry? And I guess it was in 2018, but
Far Cry 5,
again, these years are just kind of
blurring together.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean there's a new Far Cry? They just released that other one a year ago. So 2021 sounds like a good amount of time between games.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that when this game comes out, we'll already have Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5s in our hands. But on that topic, as far as the fact that they'll already be out, going back to Assassin's Creed, November 17th is the release date. Now, we also know that Cyberpunk 2077's release date is November 19th. So, do we think that that's around the... We've talked about it before.
It's around it.
It's around
there. It's just a matter of figuring out what date.
So let me ask you, what dates?
Predictions?
Yeah, what dates do you think that these were coming out?
I've got a calendar here real quick. Hold on. I mean, yeah, clearly though, like, and Valhalla said it was releasing on the new consoles. So clearly by November, what is November
17th is a Tuesday, and Cyberpunk comes out on a Thursday.
But what date is Cyberpunk? 19th. The 19th and the 17th and 19th. So I mean, I know you talked about a November 7th release to tie into Halo
for Xbox. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Because of Halo 117, that would be the perfect day, especially if Halo is going to be their launch title. And that's our anniversary, so we can just buy it in a series.
Oh, I see what you're doing there.
But it in my eyes, it makes perfect sense, right?
I'd call the 15th.
The 15th. Okay.
I'm gonna call the 15th. But yeah, clearly, like, between this, like, I feel like it's safe to say though that we will have the new consoles will be released before, either on the day of one of these or before. Like, it's going to be somewhere between that November 1st and that November
20th,
17th,
19th, because of Cyberpunk.
I think, I think even that, because again, it says it's going to be released with those. So that's my call.
Yeah, it might be just
my call is that week. Like, I don't think they're going to release this before the consoles, though.
No. Well,
I don't think they will.
I don't think so. And like, maybe we're reading into their 17th and the way they said it like too much, but I'm
just making a prediction. That's all. I'm not like trying to read into it. But I think that both of these games are, like, I don't think they have to know I think the developers have to know the release date by this point.
Yeah.
So I think that these will not be released before the actual new consoles.
Yeah, no, that's definitely. My call. I think November.
You want something to be able to play when you get your new console, and they want to be the thing to be bought. So it would make sense to like be like, hey, like, this game releases in the console, just buy them at the same day. Yeah. Like, I don't see any other reason that they would release it earlier.
I agree. So Ali says November. Oh, so 15th. Hold on, 15th for what? For Xbox or 16th? For what?
I'm talking Xbox. I don't know. I don't know about Sony because I don't know. I mean, it did say Sony too, though, right? So
yeah. Do you think they would launch on the same day? They usually launch a week like prior, like in a week span. So one will do 1 week, and then the other one will do the next week. That's why I think,
you think
November 7th for Xbox and the 15th or 14th for PlayStation.
I can agree with
15th
that.
would probably be perfect because PlayStation 5. But I don't know. I'm just tinfoil hat on and everything. But
no, I can agree with that. If it's consistently that they don't release on the same day, though, then yeah, I would say 7th and 15th.
Because
if they don't care about releasing on the same day, then I'm still sticking to like that, either that weekend. Saturday or Friday, whatever like that weekend is. So 13th, 14th, 15th. I'm gonna say 14th. I'm changing my day.
Okay. Because and again, the only reason why I don't think that they would do Xbox, if Xbox locks down the 7th, and PlayStation is not going to do the week before because that's Halloween. That's a weird time to release a console. So I think either you do it on the 7th as well, or they do it the next week on the 14th/15th.
Well, and the beginning of November is far enough to give them time to produce things, but early enough in a holiday season to have people be buying it. It's not so, because like the longer they wait in November, the more likely it is that people are going to have already bought Christmas gifts or something. Like they want to give themselves the maximum amount of time that they can before Christmas to get their consoles under Christmas trees or bought for holiday season. Yeah,
because like a week or two after Cyberpunk, it's already Thanksgiving, and that's when all the big sales happen for Black Friday. So that's when everybody goes out shopping. So if you're gonna get a console, you've got to do it you've got to have it within that time frame. So So those are our predictions.
The prediction.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all we have to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Like we said, kind of slow, but there were some heavy hitters.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Just not a lot of variety, and
we
had a lot to say about about the little stuff there was.
Yeah, we did. But thank you guys very much for joining us for episode 4 of Power On Weekly. Let us know what you were excited about as far as Ubisoft's Forward. Did anything really catch your eye? Were you disappointed?
You excited? Are we just being bullies?
Yeah, are we being jerks? Like, just let us know.
And what is your prediction date for console releases?
Yeah.
Do you think we're wrong? Do you think we're right?
Only time will tell.
Leave a comment in the comment box.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.
Bye.